Now at 10 and streaming on CrossroadsToday.com, an update on an animal cruelty case in Victoria County.
Lavaca County authorities asked the public for information on 2 vehicles stolen Monday morning.
And Victoria ISD faces a major issue that directly affects the state funding they get. Reporter Darius McCormick has that story.
We are looking at absolutely clear skies over the crossroads, and things are looking real good for the next 4 or 5 days. We'll be taking a look at that and also eclipse weekend. All that coming up in a moment.
And the West Warriors welcome the Gregory Portland Wildcats to town, and we have a final score for the Calhoun Sand Crabs playoff game. That's in sports.
You're watching 25 News now at 10. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker.
And I'm Karina Garcia.
A suspect was arrested last week in an ongoing case in Lavaca County. Andres Almazan faces charges of continuous sexual abuse of a child under the age of 14. Authorities tell us the first report on this charge was in September of 2008. He is in the Lavaca County Jail in lieu of $250,000 bond. A hearing for one of the 2 suspects in an animal cruelty case in Victoria County was canceled Tuesday morning. 42-year-old Carissa Salinas and 55-year-old Terry Ellis were indicted on 11 counts of animal cruelty. The incident in question happened on December 16, 2022. A trial date for Salinas is set for May 29th.
Victoria County deputies arrested a 22-year-old suspect Monday. Joe Villarreal is charged with burglary of a home and burglary of a home with intent for another felony. He is in the Victoria County Jail in lieu of a $90,000 bond. Lavaca County authorities report 2 vehicles were stolen there early Monday morning. A black 2003 Chevrolet 3/4-ton pickup truck was stolen from FM 1295 near Whitting. A white Ford F-250 was stolen from the 10,000 block of FM 532. If you have any information regarding these stolen vehicles, don't hesitate to contact the Lavaca County Sheriff's Office at 361-798-2121. Now, chronic absenteeism continues to stand at the forefront of concerns for the Victoria ISD. The issue is affecting younger students in the district.
25 News Now reporter Darius McCormick is here to tell us more about the situation. Now, Darius, how many students are facing chronic absenteeism?
Around 500 students from ages 3 to 5 are dealing with the issue of chronic absenteeism. This means they've missed more than 10% of school just this academic year. That's 18 days or 2 days a month. The district statistics show the difference in absences between early childhood and the rest of the district. Their stats show attendance rates were as low as 64% some days for younger students. The U.S. Department of Education says children who are chronically absent in preschool, kindergarten, and 1st grade are much less likely to read at grade level by the 3rd grade. To combat this, the district is creating programs to improve attendance and provide support to students. The Texas Education Agency says schools earn over $6,000 per student meeting daily attendance requirements. Absent students are not counted, and that impacts funding. Don, Karina, back to you.
Darius, thank you. And here's your viewer poll this evening. Scan that QR code on your screen to vote now. Here's the question. How often does your student miss class in a school year? Never, 1 to 2 days, more than 3 days, or don't have children in the school? 12% of the voters say never, 8% say 1 to 2 days, 17% say more than 3 days, 63% of our voters say they don't have children in school.
Thank you for voting. Remember, come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part.
And let's take a first look at your forecast with First Orange Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Mac Pettis. Mac, has there been any kind of change in forecast for next Monday for solar eclipse day?
Well, I'll tell you, because it's so far out, we're sort of, having to bob and weave here to make sure that we get it. Now, I'm thinking as of tonight that we'll be in better shape because the little front will bring us the showers on Sunday and hopefully it'll be gone by Monday. But I'll show you exactly what we're talking about tonight. While we've got absolutely gorgeous skies over our area, boy, I'll tell you, they're having trouble. Snow in the Midwest tonight, and then severe weather rolling through much of the mid-Tennessee and mid-Mississippi Valley. We'll be taking a look at your work week weather coming up, and we'll take a look at our eclipse weekend. All that in just a moment.
Mike, thank you. Corpus Christi police are still searching for a missing Texas A&M Corpus Christi student.
Detectives established a timeline for the night 21-year-old Caleb Harris disappeared. On the morning of March 1st, one of Caleb's roommates reported him missing. Caleb Harris' parents have doubled the reward for any information that leads to his safe return to $50,000. If you have information regarding the disappearance of Caleb Harris, contact the Corpus Christi Police Department at 361-826-2840. Now, a Texas woman claims her rights were violated after Starr County Memorial Hospital reported her self-induced abortion at 19 weeks to the district attorney. Lizelle Gonzalez's legal team says the district attorney's office knew they were overstepping the law when they charged Gonzalez with murder. The arrest took place months before Roe v. Wade was overturned by the U.S. Supreme Court, and at a time when abortions after 6 weeks were illegal in the state of Texas. However, pregnant people cannot be criminally prosecuted for their own abortions under state law.
The legal basis of Ms. Gonzalez's lawsuit is not about her reproductive rights. The legal basis of this lawsuit is the unconstitutional violation of her basic civil rights when she was arrested and charged with a crime that does not exist in the state of Texas.
The legal team says Gonzalez will not make any statements on her own behalf due to the ongoing litigation. The district attorney's office has yet to respond to this lawsuit. The mayor of Uvalde resigned from the job Monday. Cody Smith says health issues caused the decision. He says Everardo Zamora will serve as mayor pro tem until after the November election. Smith's been in charge since just after the Robb Elementary School shooting 2 years ago. Smith's resignation came the day before a city council meeting that was earlier postponed due to his health concerns. Smith was reelected as Uvalde mayor just last November.
Several days of hearings began on Tuesday to investigate the cause and the response to those deadly wildfires that spread across the Texas Panhandle.
The worst of the blazes, the Smokehouse Creek fire, charred more than 1 million acres and stands as the largest in state history.
The fires are to blame for at least 2 deaths, along with property and cattle loss. During Tuesday's hearing in Pampa, state legislators heard from a number of experts. The state's head of emergency management told a House panel Texas does not own any firefighting planes, and he urged lawmakers to change that.
Most of these volunteer fire departments in this area are not very well funded. I can speak to my organization. The only promised money that we receive on an annual basis is $25,000. Can any of you guys live today on $25,000 a year? How are we expected to do this?
Right now, Texas contracts with private companies or the federal government to get access to firefighting planes. The largest fresh egg producer in the U.S. stopped production at a plant in the Texas Panhandle. This comes after state health officials report a person was diagnosed with bird flu after being in contact with cows presumed to be infected. Cal-Maine Foods said it has destroyed over 2 million chickens. The facility is about 80 miles southwest of Amarillo. The company says there is no known risk with eggs in the market and no eggs have been recalled. Risk to the public, they say, remains low. Records show water from a Midland County well had chemical levels that exceeded state standards from 2020 through 2023. Information about contamination did not reach residents of the impacted neighborhood, the majority who primarily speak Spanish. You can read the Texas Tribune article on our website, crossroadstoday.com. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell. Then you can see Crossroads Today on YouTube. Former President Donald Trump delivered remarks on President Biden's border policies at an event in Michigan today. Coming up on 25 News Now at 10, hear how he described his policies.
Also had severe weather move through Kentucky today.
Our military hero for March is Charity Kittrell. At 25 years of age, she was thinking her life wasn't going anywhere, so she enlisted in the Air Force. But instead of flying, she wound up in a SCIF, a top-secret secure information facility.
I was working a good job on the outside, but I was unfulfilled. And 9/11 happened, and I'm like, there's more that I should be able to do. I was in a secure facility. We had no windows. One door you had to code in, and flashing lights if we had a visitor. So yeah, it was pretty, I don't want to say boring, because it was not a boring job, but we didn't see a lot of people or sunlight.
After her tour of duty, she settled in Central Texas and found her life's purpose. She opened a nonprofit called 412 Kids. The organization collects and distributes clothing and school supplies to area families.
I believe that service is service, and you're giving whether you're in the military or whether you're on the outside. So I would say while they're not directly connected, my service to the community has always been there.
This is a small token of our appreciation for your Air Force work and your charity work. And this is a little plaque and a little cash donation. You can splurge with it or you can use it on the kids, whatever
I'll
you
probably
choose.
use it on the kids. Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Nominate your Military Hero of the Month at crossroadstoday.com. They could win an award and a cash gift. Maclovio Perez, 25 News Now.
President Donald Trump attacked President Biden's border policies at a campaign event in Michigan today. Before his remarks, Trump held a roundtable discussion with local authorities, including local sheriffs and Representative Mike Rogers. Trump blamed the Biden administration's border policy for what he called a bloodbath of a migrant crime. The former president also repeated debunked claims about the 2020 election and promised justice for a Michigan woman who was killed by an illegal migrant in the country.
Joe Biden's border bloodbath, and that's what it is. It's a bloodbath. They tried to use that term incorrectly on me 2 weeks ago. You know, it's all about misinformation. That's all they do is cheat on elections and disinformation, misinformation, fairly closely related, those two words. But they basically mean that it's all talk, but it's a border bloodbath, and it's destroying our country. It's a very bad thing happening. It's going to end on the day that I take office, which will be January 20th. It'll end.
When asked about abortion, he said he'll make a statement on the issue next week.
A major earthquake hit the east coast of Taiwan with a magnitude of 7.4, triggering a tsunami threat. The Japan Meteorological Agency has issued a tsunami warning for 2 islands in the western Pacific. Tsunami waves were observed on the coasts of Taiwan and far southwestern Japanese islands after the 7.4 magnitude earthquake in eastern Taiwan. Tsunami heights reached 1.5 feet, about 100 kilometers south of the quake's epicenter. A fire broke out at a nightclub during renovations in Turkey Tuesday, killing at least 29 people. 8 people suffered injuries, 7 of them hospitalized in serious condition. Officials are currently investigating the cause of the fire and believe the victims were involved in the renovation work. Authorities detained 5 people for questioning, including managers of the club and 1 person in charge of the renovations. In the Middle East, tensions continue to escalate. An international charity has suspended delivery of food to starving Palestinians.
This comes a day after an Israeli airstrike killed 7 aid workers from the World Central Kitchen. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu now speaking for the first time since that deadly attack.
The international following the IDF attack in Gaza that killed 7 aid workers with World Central Kitchen. Secretary of State Antony Blinken says the U.S. has spoken directly to the Israeli government, urging them to conduct a swift investigation into what happened.
We've impressed upon the Israelis the absolute imperative of doing more to protect innocent civilian lives, be they Palestinian children, women, and men, or be they aid workers.
Australia's Prime Minister also speaking out, saying he expects full accountability for the deaths of the aid workers.
This is a human tragedy that should never have occurred, that is completely unacceptable.
The 7 aid workers killed were from Australia, Poland, Palestine, the UK, and a dual citizen of the US and Canada. Video of the aftermath shows the vehicle clearly marked with the World Central Kitchen logo on the sides and roof of the van. World Central Kitchen saying despite coordinating movements with the IDF, the convoy was hit, going on to say that they're now pausing operations immediately in the region. Meanwhile, humanitarian aid seen here airdropped into the Gaza Strip Tuesday as Israel continues its military offensive in the region. All this as Iran vows revenge after an airstrike in Syria killed 2 of its top commanders and 5 officers. Iran and Syria blaming Israel. The Iran ambassador to Syria saying such crimes and violating international law will have its response in an appropriate time.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu speaking out, sending condolences to the victims and their families, saying Israel deeply regrets the tragic incident which claimed the lives of 7 humanitarian aid workers. The IDF is promising a swift investigation. Ika Jachi, ABC News, Washington.
Strong storms caused heavy damage across Lexington, Kentucky today, toppled trees, crushed cars, while others took out power lines, knocking out service for nearly 13,000 customers. 1 person suffered non-life-threatening injuries after a tree fell on their home. The area is under a threat of severe storms today, and another round of storms are expected later. Governor Andy there has declared a state of emergency in Kentucky after the line of storms moved through.
We'll be showing you more radar activity on that stuff going up there. For us, we've got a beautiful night out there, 65 degrees, very comfortable. North winds came in about 4 o'clock this morning, and that blew everything away, gave us a beautiful afternoon. 85 was our high, but tomorrow we're actually going to be a bit cooler because of that north wind. And how long will that last? Well, we'll be talking about it right after this. Don't go away. Well, good evening, everyone. Beautiful night out there, clear skies, and we've got low humidities, and we'll have that for a couple more days. We're going to be, shall we say, blessed by some gorgeous spring-like weather. Temperatures tomorrow should be a little lower because that north wind continues. As a matter of fact, we're right about there. You can see that line right about there. That is the drier or the cooler air that's going to also be drifting into our area by tomorrow morning. So yeah, another gorgeous day coming up. While we are, of course, blessed with some lovely weather, boy, I'll tell you, it was rough back east. Here's that monster low, and that was the same front that came through our region, produced the weather in North Texas last night. Tonight, it's producing snow throughout much of the Midwest, so if you got friends in Minnesota, call them up, ask them how deep the snow was. And then you can track the severe weather going all the way down the Mississippi Valley. This is Texas last night, and each one of these circles is a report of severe weather. Basically, these are reports of hail. So all of these, there was a hail streak that went from Hondo through Castroville, all the way up to San Antonio, northbound into New Braunfels, all the way up to San Marcos. Another one from Fredericksburg. Fredericksburg got 1-inch hail last night, went across just north of Austin all the way up to Georgetown, but that was last night. This is tonight. This is the swimming pool in Taiwan in the middle of a 7.5 earthquake. Pretty scary, huh? And that's at the top of a building. Okay, you can imagine how the building was swaying. There's quite a bit of damage in Taiwan, in Taipei. You'll hear about it tomorrow. This just happened a couple of hours ago, and therefore it is going to be a big story tomorrow. Now, as Don mentioned, there was a tsunami warning. One always goes up if there's an earthquake because we don't know how the waves are going to propagate. But within a couple hours, several hours, if nothing happens, then they lower that. But still, you're going to be seeing this. It's a huge story. It's a 7.4 and then a 7.5 right after it. And the top of the scale is a 9. So, you know, we'll see what happens. 77 for tomorrow's high temperature, looking at pretty much 80 degrees. Next few days will stay right at about 80 degrees. So very nice sunshine in store for all of us all the way through Sunday. Now the big question is, what about the eclipse? Well, here's a front that came through this morning. Here's all the severe weather going east. We are on the backside, so we're getting that dry air, and things are going to look good for Thursday and Friday and Saturday. We're still going to have high pressure on top of us. Watch this. As we get from Friday into Saturday, the storm out of the Rockies starts moving into the plains, and here is where we have a chance for some shower activity. This is on Sunday. Right now, I'm going to say that it'll be on Sunday when we see a few thunder showers, but then by Monday, that thing hopefully will be gone by sunrise. As a result, then we can say that skies will be clearing just in time for the eclipse at 1:30 in the afternoon. Sunny skies tomorrow, 78, 79 out in La Vaca. Looking at lots of sunshine in Cuero, getting up to about a 78. And here you go. Absolutely gorgeous week all the way through Saturday. Then Sunday is that rain chance. Hopefully it'll be gone by Monday morning. And that is your 7-day forecast. Reminding everybody we do have a QR code. Love for you to scan that. Put Crossroads Today on your phone. And I will toss it to Zach with more baseball.
And softball. Victoria West in action tonight, and we have a final score from the Calhoun Sand Crabs playoff game. That's coming up in sports. Biggest story locally of the day, the Calhoun Sand Crabs in round 3 of the playoffs, but bad news. The Sand Crabs could not score a goal in Stafford. Knocked 3 in the back of the net in the second half. The Sand Crab season ends a little earlier than they would have liked. This is a team that had a title on their mind, but Coach Giralde always proud of his guys, and we will see what they can do next year. Over at the Club of Colony Creek, district golf winding down in the season for Calhoun. This was day 2 of the tournament for the boys and girls as they are pursuing a push for the regional tournament. Not only was Calhoun there, but it featured many schools from the Corpus area as well. On the Calhoun side of things for the boys, Josiah Campos, who has been a star for Calhoun golf this year, finishes in second place, not far behind him. In the standings, Cole Speakach, then Heston Lovett came in tied for number 18 in the tournament, and Gunnar Evans comes in at 23rd in the 2-day event. For the girls, Bryn Passmore had the highest score for the Sandies, placing at number 6 for the last 2 days. Jillian Tanner and Lily Gossett both finished tied at number 9, and right behind those two, Trinity Morgan. So the Sandies really dominant in the top 10 area for the tournament. The girls team took 2nd overall, and they qualified for regionals. The boys took 3rd. Josiah Campos qualifies for regionals, finishing 2nd. Over at the youth sports complex, the West Ladies adding a run in the bottom of the 6th. This run made it 5-0, but in the top of the 7th, Gregory Portland put up 3 runs, had the tying runner on first base, but the defense would eventually help out Michaela Davis, who had been excellent all night. Next up, this Friday, part 2 of the East versus West rivalry. If you all remember, the first one saw a combined 8 runs scored in the final inning. In that same place, but just a little earlier in the day, the UHV softball girls had a doubleheader. They swept the day against Texas A&M San Antonio. In the first game, Cameron Cowan got the win, going 6 innings, no runs allowed. She was backed by Kinsey Chambers, who had 3 RBIs in game 1. Game 2, same story, just a different pitcher. Kinsey Chambers had 2 RBIs in that game. The Jags did not allow a run in the entire day. They are 24-8 overall on the year. The Astros just 1 day after their no-hitter. Well, we hoped that the Astros would catch fire, but they did not. But they did lead 1-0 heading to the 9th, but a 2-run homer off of Josh Hader in the 9th puts the Blue Jays up 2-1. That's the final score. The Astros now 1-5 on the year. In the Women's March Madness tournament, Caitlin Clark in Iowa and Angel Reese and the LSU Tigers lived up to all the expectations. At the half, we were tied at 45 as LSU drew even just before the buzzer. But in the second half, Caitlin Clark in Iowa really woke up and pulled away on the night. LSU's Angel Reese had 17 points and 20 rebounds. Caitlin Clark showed why she may be the best women's college basketball player ever. She had 41 points to go along with 12 assists. And last night's game between those two had 12.3 million viewers. That is the most watched women's college basketball game in history. And I know, Donna, you got some numbers you want to throw out there for me?
The TV rating number was higher than 4 of the NBA Finals games from last year and higher than the final game of last year's World Series. Not bad for women's college basketball.
Oh, yeah.
How about that?
All righty, thank you, Don. And stay with us. Coming up on 25 News now at 10, we're going to take a last look at your weather. Plus, we take a look into the wild side of Malaysia's cat-rich jungle. Patients at a North Carolina children's hospital had some fun with their caregivers today by splattering them with Jell-O. The Jell-O toss is a yearly event for the pediatric patients. It's been going on for decades, with children throwing and squirting Jell-O on their caregivers. One mother says lighthearted moments like these are important for her daughter. She was diagnosed with leukemia in November.
For children like Ella who have long stays here in the hospital, it is really important to get them outside, get them thinking of something other than their diagnosis so that they can have those moments of being a child again.
And by the looks of it, everyone had a great time.
Tomorrow is a day to celebrate these colorful days of hope and the rays of hope. It's a National Find a Rainbow Day. In Irish mythology, leprechauns hid their treasures at the end of a rainbow.
That's right.
But that's a trick. Since rainbows can only be seen at a distance, you never actually reach the end. These stunning aerial displays are formed when sunlight passes through water droplets in the atmosphere. You can also create a rainbow by using a garden hose. I've done that back in the day. I've done that with a garden hose, put it up like that, and you can get your own rainbow.
The sun has to be at your back, and it has to reflect on the water droplets to see the rainbow. But the closer you get to the end of the rainbow, it moves.
I know. That's why I stopped doing it.
That's why the gold is there, because you'll never get there.
Well, I know. It's like a moving rainbow. That's not fair.
That's not fair. Hey, folks, we've got a beautiful day. No rainbows tomorrow, but lots of sunshine all the way through the weekend. Things are looking good for Saturday. Sunday, we have that chance of rain with that shower or that frontal system coming through. I'm pretty optimistic right now that it will move through early on Monday, and that by, shall we say, eclipse time, we should have clear skies.
All right, Mac, thank you. And finally tonight, rare photos are giving us a glimpse into the lives of wildcats in one of the most cat-rich areas on the planet. Malaysia's tropical jungle is home to 8 other species of wildcats, including the clouded leopard, the bay cat, and the flat-headed cat. A conservation organization wants to give the lesser-known species their moment in the spotlight. In monitoring the different species, the organization hopes to gather information on population sizes, range estimates, and the threats they face. And unfortunately, they do face threats out there in the wild in Malaysia. It's unfortunate because they're so beautiful, but obviously that is the case. The experts say that.
Yeah, I've always wanted to pet a tiger. They're just big babies, really.
Maybe one day you will.
Maybe one day I will, in a controlled environment.
Of course.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
right?
yes.
Well, thank you for joining us for 25 News Now at 10.
Join Carolina Astroin, meteorologist Parker Cox. 25 News Now Sunrise, starting at 5 a.m. Good night, everybody.